Well, it all started in 2007 when we began to envision or start looking at how we could thoughtfully transition our suburban development neighborhoods to a much more urban, livable, walkable community. We've been working on activating this neighborhood for the last several years, and with the addition of the apartments on the neighboring property, the new brewery that just became a tenant of ours, and then our 2 hotels, our Hilton Garden Inn and our Homewood Suites, we felt like the time was right to add a little bit of office. It was important for us to bring the outdoors in on this site because the site is bounded by the freeway, a very urban side on one side, and then surrounded by mountains, wetlands, and streams on the other side.
This is a terrific location because it's among a lot of other uses. It's next to a brand new fitness center called Arena Sports, and we're only 15 minutes away from the Issaquah Transit Center where many bus lines will take you all over the region. The other interesting thing is this is the terminus location for Sound Transit 3's light rail system that will eventually bring light rail right down I-90, right in front of Poplar Office Building, to a station just down the roadway here.
The project is located immediately adjacent to wetlands and Tibbetts Creek, which meant that we had to really respect our temporary erosion, sedimentation and control measures, our stormwater management systems. This property has about 40 feet of alluvial deposits, which means it's about 40 feet of loose sand and silt that we're standing on. So if you put a building on this site with just conventional foundations, the building's going to settle too much. The other thing is the groundwater table is only about 5 feet down, and during an earthquake, this site would liquefy. So we needed to come up with a different foundation system. And so we worked with Ted Shepper at Terra Associates to come up with a driven grout pile system. We've got about 100 piles that are supporting this building to mitigate any issues with settlement or liquefaction.
You'll notice on the building that we have a lot of glass, and that is designed specifically to allow the people to view through the building and see the mountains beyond. And it needed to really reflect Pacific Northwest architecture and be of a high quality so that we could really set the bar for future developments in Issaquah.
The interesting shape of the property presents interesting planning opportunities. With the trapezoid shape, we started out with an L-shaped building that developed into the feature stair. The trapezoidal building site and angled poplar way frontage significantly influenced the building shape and parking layout as we look to engage the street but maintain the relationship with the surrounding context and buildings. We worked with the landscape architect to make the best use of the negative triangular spaces created by these relationships to integrate the building into the site.
One of the things that we did with the structure is we wanted to hold the structure back from the facade and really reach out with cantilevered slabs to reach out and grab on and support that facade system to basically be able to maximize the amount of area that the facade has and maximize daylighting into the building. Structural challenge that we were able to overcome, but it's something that I think is fairly unique about the building.
We used a larger format brick, which was more in keeping with the scale of the building. And the brick also has a lot of color variation, which adds interest within a pretty simple material palette. It has a smooth texture, which creates a more modern aesthetic.
Another thing that makes Raleigh Properties different is that we're long-term owners. Our business model is not to sell any of our properties. So when we build a building, we often make different choices about the materials that go into the building than many other developers do because we know we're going to own it for the long term. We want to make sure that it's going to be a great asset that's easy to maintain and very sustainable.
Certainly one thing that makes this building unique is it's the first CLT building in the city of Issaquah. The roof of the building is kind of an optimal place to utilize CLT. It really served a dual purpose in that it accomplished the cantilevered projections, but it also forms the finished appearance on the outside soffits and the interior of the building as well.
It's a hybrid structure. We've got steel, we've got concrete, we've got CLT, and we just really found really great ways to use all of those elements in different areas of the building. And what you see from the outside, you see the timber overhangs on the roof, you see the timber and steel canopies, you see the stair, especially at night when it's all lit up, just accentuating the building from the highway. It just makes it really unique. There's nothing around quite like this one.
We wanted to kind of pave the way for other developers to adopt more use of cross-laminated timber in the future. We're very grateful for the advocacy of Forterra with our officials at the City of Issaquah to help them see the great benefits of sustainability for this material. And we also are extremely appreciative of the support that we received from VIA, Coughlin Porter Lundin, and also from GLY to provide examples of how this material has been used in other jurisdictions.
For this building, we wanted to have an efficient floor plan that could also be divided into individual tenant spaces. We consolidated the core into the central area so that it can service the whole building. We added 10 additional bays for additional corner office opportunities rather than just 5, and this allows for tenants to have that amenity. For the glazing, we used a full-height curtain wall with glazed spandrel panels so that it would be as transparent and uniform as possible. We used an alternating major-minor mullion pattern so that it added interest within the simple material palette.
We really wanted to do these long cantilevered overhangs on the outside of the building and then express the CLT. And so we had some overhangs that were around 9 feet in many areas of the building. So we were looking for a product that could do those cantilevers, even double cantilevers, and then do all the structural work that we needed to do and then act as a structural diaphragm. And so that's what we have in the ceiling here. And it turned out really beautiful. And we were also looking for ways to use that same kind of structure elsewhere in the building. And so we did the same type of thing at the entry canopy, which marks the main entrance into the building, which cantilevers off of this really cool stair structure. And then you walk into this stair and you've got a 5-ply CLT wall here. You've got 3-ply CLT stair treads and then 5-ply CLT stair landings that we've got, and all imitating what you also see when you go up to the 4th floor and you've got exposed steel and CLT up there. So it's just this really cool connection from what you see on the outside all the way up through the building and what you see up on the 4th floor. Let's attract tenants away from the elevator and let's get them out to the stair where you're in this beautiful space. You can smell the wood, you feel the wood, you can experience the inside of the space, you can look out over the view towards Lake Sammamish and use the stair, which is better for your health and wellness. So it's just this really cool feature in the building.
The idea behind the feature stair was that it would be a recognizable icon for the building. The way that it's been detailed and addressed is that it will be lit at night and be a beacon from passersby on I-90.
Some of our other sustainable features that we have in this building are that on our 1st floor, we feature light fixtures that are made from recycled cardboard by a local company here called Gray Pants. We have 3 electric vehicle charging stations that can charge up to 5 cars at a time. We also have bike lockers and showers. One of our focal points is Wedgwood. So this is a buck that my father purchased at a fundraising auction many years ago, and he thought it would look really great in our Tibbetts Creek Greenway, welcoming people. But we discovered that Wedgwood was not graffiti proof. He was not an outdoor buck, he's an indoor buck. And so for the last at least 12 plus years, he's been in our office in our conference room waiting for us to build a building where we could place him. In addition to Wedgwood, we also have a sculpture outside the entry to our office building greeting people as they come in. And that is an otter. It's a statue by local artist Georgia Gerber. She lives on Whidbey Island, and you will have known her for crafting the pig at the Pike Place Market and the husky dog at Husky Stadium. Near the otter, you'll see his footprints embedded in the sidewalk. And you'll also see footprints of other wildlife in the sidewalk, which was part of our design theory to bring the outdoors in and integrate nature with the built environment by making it seem like animals might have come out of the wetland and walked across the wet concrete, and you can kind of guess what their footprints are. Then another unique thing we did with this building is we have a time capsule. This is the year 2020, a very unusual year, a year full of change, disruption, and innovation, and it's going to mark a period of time that we will not be the same from afterwards, a change in civilization, and so it just seemed really fitting, since the construction of our building coincided with that year, to gather mementos of this particular period and place them in a time capsule with a timeline of about 100 years. So 100 years from now, we're hoping that people will open that time capsule and they will know whether we got things right or not.
This project was really fun to work on. We had an awesome team, really awesome owner. And from the very beginning of the project, the team wanted to brainstorm different ideas of what we could do with this building. We were jumping up and down on the whiteboard, marking up our favorite ideas, working them out to ultimately give you what we have out here now. And we think this building turned out great, but it was really just that collaboration early on that made the project so much fun to work on.